Good morning, everybody, and welcome to a happy Tuesday here at Heart Conditions. God is going to do some great things in your life today, I hope. I know this, it is going to be a great day, so why don't you grab a cup of coffee and join me as we talk today about I-De-Clare-War. That's what we've been talking about this week. How many of you remember that story or that game we used to play with cards when you were a kid, and you'd each have half of the deck, and you'd begin to put cards down, and then you'd come to the same card that matched there, and you'd go put one down and say I, the next one down D, the next one down Claire, the last one War, would you say War, and turn it over, and whichever card was highest won. And it was a declaration that you were gonna take on that person. And so if you're playing with multiple people, whoever had the matching cards, they would declare war, and the winner took the pot. The winner got everything. And so today we're going to continue in the thought of I declare war, and today we're going to talk about the greatest way to lose the war, the secret mission to a miserable life. Now, obviously, I don't believe any of us here want to have a miserable life, but oftentimes we tend to. Right now, we live in a time where people are wearing masks for many reasons. But used to be, only one time a year would people feel comfortable walking around with a mask on, and it was Halloween. And people wear masks for different reasons. Today, I believe everyone wears a mask. Maybe not a mask on the outside, and maybe it doesn't have to do with corona or rioting, but I believe most people in our society today, most people in life today wear masks, but their masks are hidden masks. They're masks that it's what they show you, what they want you to see. The root of the matter, we wear masks because we feel insecure. We buy into the lie that we are not good enough. So instead of dealing with the lie, we wear this mask as a defense mechanism to cover up all of our insecurities. If we continue to live in our insecurities, we will have a miserable life. And so today I want to challenge us to declare war on the enemy that would lie to you and tell you you're not good enough for God's mercy, you're not good enough for God's grace, you're not good enough for God to use. The story of Gideon in the Bible is a story of we would at the end of the story say a great judge. But the story doesn't start out with Gideon as a great man. It starts with him as a young man, a fearful man. If we find the beginning of Gideon's story, he is in a wine press trying to thresh wheat. The process of threshing wheat is when you take the wheat with a pitchfork, throw it up in the air, and the wind comes and blows away everything that's not wheat and leaves behind just the heavier wheat that falls, and so the chaff blows away. And we find Gideon is down in a wine press trying to do this. It's not really a possible thing. It must have taken hours just to do it and get a little bit of something out of it. The understanding is why he was in the wine press. He was there because he was afraid. The Midianites had taken control of Israel. The people had cried out to God, and God looks down for a warrior. And he finds this person full of fear. He sees beyond what Gideon is at the moment, and he sees the possibility of what Gideon could be, someone who would listen to the voice of God. In our lives, we need to accept the challenge that God puts before us. I'm sure that when God began to speak to Gideon, and I know because of the scripture, that Gideon was very hesitant, that Gideon was full of doubt, that he could do what God asked him to do. There's a valuable lesson we need to learn from the story of Gideon, is that first of all, you don't actually determine whether or not God can use you. God does. Your abilities, your strengths, your weaknesses, they're not determinators. They do not determine what God can do for you and what God can do in your life. The second thing that you can learn is that even though you may have some doubts about God's ability to utilize you, or God's ability to do things in your life, His strength and His power aren't predicated by your strength and your power. If you will take off the mask, if you will remove fear and begin to trust God, begin to focus on God and allow Him to make something out of you. Don't focus on what you aren't. Don't focus on what you can't do. Don't focus on the enemies around you. Don't focus on all of that stuff going on out there. Instead, put your focus on God and what He can do. His ability, His strength, His grace is sufficient for me. And God will begin to remove that mask of insecurity from off your life, and the end of your life will be greater than the beginning. Today, I challenge you, don't wear a mask. Whether you wear one to the store or not, that's up to you. But in your life, in your walk with God, don't wear a mask. Instead of showing people what you think they want to see, begin to open up and show them what God is in you, what God has done through your life. In the story of Gideon can be found in Judges chapter 6, but in Psalms 139 it says this in verse 14, I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are thy works, that my soul knoweth right well. It's awesome that David, when writing this, said this. He said, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are thy works. He did not say, because I've done this, because I have power, because I have strength, because I'm a king, because I'm all of these things. I praise thee. He said, because you made me, because you are the creator and the maker of heaven and earth, I give you praise. Today, I challenge you. Declare war on the enemy. Instead of having a miserable life with fake masks, become real, become true. Show what God has done in your life and what He will do in your life. Remove fear, remove doubt, and step forward into trust and faith today. God bless you, and have a wonderful Tuesday.